All right, let's talk the Cup Series picks video for the Watkins Glen race on Sunday. Hope you guys were able to survive that Xfinity Series race. I know things changed when Gibbs and Byron got into it there at the end. So hopefully you're able to come out on the right side of that. But if not, hey, you got another slate today waiting for you. So let's get into this. Let's talk about it here. So with road courses, we talked about this a lot in the preview video, but really there isn't a ton of laps, right? So there's 90 laps. So because of that, when it comes to lineup construction, it's really just one, maybe two dominator plays. And then it's really just building out the rest of your line with place differential plays and or plays that we know who we believe can give you a good finishing position. Hopefully, top 10. Maybe a driver starts 15th. We think they can finish 4th, or a driver starts 24th and we think they can finish 12th. Like plays like that are really the plays you want to focus on, in addition to the 1 to 2 drivers who feel the most confident getting out front, leading laps. So keep that in mind when we're going through this slate here. So you got Elliott, Larson, Reddick, and Chastain, all high on them for relatively different reasons. So Elliott and Larson have the front row. Everyone's going to be playing Elliott. Elliott's going to be the extremely chalky play. He's going to be probably a lot higher owned than Larson. So if you're playing cash games, I think you just got to slam Elliott in. I think playing Elliott in tournaments is a good idea. I think playing Larson in tournaments is a good idea. I think you can even play both of them together. I will say that Larson will probably come in a little bit under owned than Elliott. So if you are playing tournaments and trying to, look for leverage play right off the bat, then don't look any further than just plugging in Larson instead of Elliott. So I like either one or two of them in your line, and then potentially pairing them with a Reddick or Chastain. Now Reddick's probably a little bit more of a GPP option to pair with Elliott and or Larson. Reddick starts 5th, might come in a little bit under owned just based off of everyone probably just jamming in Elliott starting on the pole, especially what we've seen of the pole sitter at road courses. But let's not forget, Reddick has won the last 2 road courses on the schedule. Road America is another high speed, fast type of track. Reddick is dialed in, so don't count him out by any means. And with that price tag, and with Elliott and Larson starting on the pole and Chastain giving you some place differential 18th, I think Reddick might be the odd man out here, and we might get a Reddick a little bit under owned than we should. So probably wouldn't have Reddick in my line if I'm just doing one line, but if you're doing multiple lines, I kind of like him for tournament plays. Ross Chastain would be a driver to pair with one of those. Ross Chastain is not going to be the early lap leader. He's not going to see, he's more someone who's going to be a place differential play that has the ability to get out front and lead laps. I think if he gets the lead, I think he's going to maintain it. The question is, if he even gets the lead, and when will that be? I mean, starting 18th is more or less kind of the middle of the pack there. So really like the 10K range. I don't think you can really go wrong. And then once you drop down to the 8K or the 9K range, you got Cindric, Allmendinger, Suarez, Blaney, and Truex. Now, a lot of drivers in this range, I think, are going to be points racing. So especially with only 2 races before the playoffs, there's only 1 spot currently available for points. And if we get a new winner at Watkins Glen and then we get a new winner at Daytona, well, even if you have a win, you are going to get kicked out, or the lowest points getter who have wins are going to get kicked out. So Cindric did win the Daytona 500, but he's relatively pretty low in points. So I think he's probably going to play it safe in points race. Blaney and Truex start right next to each other. It doesn't look like either of them have a car to win today. So most likely they're going to be points racing to make sure that they don't have, Blaney's going to try to widen the gap to get to Daytona, and Truex is going to try to narrow that gap and just hope that the other one wrecks out, and then they can get that last spot on points. So even though they start deeper in the field, my fear is they're going to stay out at the end of stage 2, get points, and start towards the middle end of the pack for stage 3 and really limit their finishing potential upside. Suarez is interesting. I think he's going to be pretty low owned. He starts inside the top 10. I think he can maintain a top 10 position all day long. The problem is he's $9,400, so he's probably pretty hard to get to. Allmendinger is probably my favorite GPP option in this range. We know how good of a road course driver he is. He showed great practice times. He was able to back it up in qualifying. And again, for tournaments, I don't think he's going to be super high owned. So if you're building one line, probably wouldn't go there. But if you are building multiple, I think he's a viable option. Getting down to the 8K range, you got Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, and Alex Bowman. Not really too interested in really any of the JGR cars. Kyle Busch does start 10th, but he will be starting from the rear of the field. Or I should say he scored from 10th, but he has to start from the rear of the field. So don't really like JGR too much. And then with him going to the rear of the field, I don't really think I'm going to really have any ownership to Kyle Busch. Although we did see Larson start at the rear of the field for the Xfinity Series race, and he, of course, won. Briscoe's another driver similar to Cindric. I just fear he might be points racing. So because of that, I really fear about their upside. Christopher Bell wasn't able to take a qualifying time. He's going to be extremely chalky play starting 38th. If you're playing cash games, just jam him in and move on with it. I think he's fine for tournaments, but he's going to be very high owned. Hamlin and Harvick are more medium interest to me. I would lean Harvick between the two of them. Harvick's practice times were not good, but he did win the last 2 races that we have been at. So that team definitely has a lot of momentum for them. And then Logano and Bowman are drivers that I'm probably going to bump Logano down to medium here. But Bowman's going to be a guy that I like a lot for tournaments. We see how fast the Hendrick Motorsports cars are. I mean, Byron qualified 4th. You got Elliott and Larson qualifying 1st and 2nd. I mean, Bowman just missed out on the second group of qualifying. So it could have been very possible once Bowman got into that second group of qualifying that, we saw him advance his position. Maybe he starts 6th or 7th. So I really like, even though he starts 11th, I think he offers you a little bit of place differential upside, a ton of finishing potential, and a lot of value too. And I don't know really how high owned he potentially might be. Buescher, Byron, Kimi Raikkonen, Brad Keselowski, and Michael McDowell. Love Buescher. I think Buescher has a really great chance of maybe, getting another top 5, top 3, potentially even a win if he can get the track position somehow from Elliott and Larson and Reddick in this race. He has the speed, qualified up front, should finish up front, gives you a lot of value there. It's crazy to see William Byron priced at $7,700. He's more of a kind of contrarian lap leader play. Say for whatever reason, Elliott or Larson have an issue on pit road or, wrecking to each other like we saw Gibbs and Byron do. Well, who's in an advantage to potentially take advantage of that? Or who's in a spot, I should say, to take advantage of that? That's going to be William Byron. Let's not forget how fast William Byron was in the Xfinity Series before, he pretty much wrecked out. So really like him for tournaments as a kind of an aggressive play. Kimi Raikkonen, Brad Keselowski, and Michael McDowell. We'll talk about Brad and Michael first. It's really cool to see front row with Michael McDowell qualify 3rd. Same thing. If things get wild, I mean, maybe, he's trying to get into the playoffs, and I would say Watkins Glen and most likely Daytona's could be his best chance, but maybe they do some bold strategy and maybe Michael McDowell is a surprise winner at Watkins Glen. Highly unlikely. So I'm not really going to get there in DFS. Pretty cool to see him qualify 3rd. Keselowski starts 15th. I just think his upside's limited starting that high. And then you got Kimi Raikkonen here in the Trackhouse Project 91 car. So first, just want to say super cool that Kimi is coming over into NASCAR again. He's run a couple of races in the past, but those were years ago. So it's really cool to see him get some top tier equipment and make his Cup Series debut. A lot more, eyeballs will be on him. The broadcast will be paying a lot of attention. Millions of people are going to tune into this race. And he's in a car that has won, Trackhouse has won 2 of the 4 road courses we've been at. It's been Chastain, Suarez, and then Reddick twice. So he's in the same type of equipment that, 50% of the road course wins have gone to. So that's pretty cool. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. He's $7,600. Yeah, he's a great talent, but he doesn't really have that much experience in this Cup car. I think it's very easy for him to make a mistake, spin out, speed on pit road, go through too many pit boxes. Like, really cool to see him in here. For DFS purposes, I don't personally see the hype. Then you get down to the 6K range. You got Gibbs, Wallace, Jones, Dillon, Custer, Almirola, Stenhouse, and Haley. Gibbs I like for maybe a potential tournament play. Don't really love JGR. Wish he started a little bit deeper, but Gibbs really showed the best speed out of all the JGR and 2311, I should say, cars. So like him for tournaments. Don't know if he'll get a lot of ownership. Bubba starts mid-pack. He did get a good finish at the Indy road course, but we know that kind of got a little crazy at the end. So if things get crazy, maybe Bubba's in for another good day. Otherwise, I see him finishing maybe around 18th or so. It's going to be hard for him to hit value, I feel. Then you got Eric Jones, Cole Custer, and Eric Almirola. All of them are more place differential plays. I don't think you can really go wrong with any of them. But my favorite would be Cole Custer, just because A, he ran the Xfinity Series race. He has some extra laps on this track this weekend. And B, he's pretty good at the road courses. And he's pretty cheap too. And I think he's going to be the lowest owned of the 3. Stenhouse, not very good at the road courses. Haley, unfortunately, just starts a little bit too high. And then once you get down to this punt range, really it comes down to Burton, Gill, and Dillon, and I don't mean to have Rockefeller at medium there, and Cody Ware. Looks like some of this stuff is not. One second here. There we go. Sorry about that. I guess some of the text boxes had copied to wrong areas, but Burton starts 30th. I think he has, the ability to maybe get to a 20th place finish. We saw him finish really well at the Indy road course, but again, we know that was kind of circumstantial. Todd Gilliland's probably more of the GPP punt, but you need some place differential plays in your line. So maybe you're getting place differential in other areas and you're trying to get different going down to Todd. Ty Dillon's another decent option, but one option, I don't think you have to get this low on the slate by any means, but so Cody Ware is interesting because the field size is a lot bigger than it normally is. So that's, potentially more place differential points that someone like him could earn. He starts DFL and he's super cheap. He really allows you to stack a lot of, place differential plays, some of the lap leaders. And if you look at his road course finishes, some of these other races, things have got a little weird, but he's finished 27th, 32nd twice, and 24th. If he's able to have a 27th or 24th type of day, for a driver at $4,800, so I don't think he's going to get a lot of ownership. I don't mind sprinkling him into a handful of lines. So, so that'll do it for the Cup Series Watkins Glen picks. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in, watching the videos, liking the videos, leaving all the comments, hitting us up on Twitter. We've just been continuously growing every week, and it's been a lot of fun on our end to see all the growth. So thank you. Really appreciate all that. But yeah, good luck, and we will catch you next week.